Hello squirrels and hello hedgehogs. We are on lesson 4 of our exciting science topic. Now, using the pictures on this page, what do you think about today's lesson? What do you think it's going to be about? I think you could be right. I think it's all about rain, and we're going to look at how we as Year 1 scientists could measure rainfall. Now, do you think it would be a really good idea if I wanted to measure how much rain falls for me to stand outside with my hands out? No? Do you think it would be a really good idea if I was inside reading a book and I heard the rain to run outside with a bucket and put it on top of my head and see how much rain I could catch? Probably not the best idea. So we're going to be looking at the most efficient, that means the most best way of how we could measure rainfall. So today we are going to observe the weather again. We are going to learn what a liquid is, and we are going to do an experiment and make a rain gauge. Here are our keywords for today. Like normal, I'm going to say them and then you need to pause the video and see if you can have a go at saying them. So we have rain, and now we know we have an action for rain. We have wet, liquid. We're going to be looking at what a liquid is today. Gauge, season, something we know very, very well. Measure, change, we know the leaves change. Spring, autumn, and this word here, efficient. Now, efficient means to find the best way, the best use of our time in the best way. So it's not very efficient, it's not the best way for me to collect rain in my hands, so we're going to find the most efficient, the most best way. Pause this and have a go at saying the different words. Okay, detectives, as a quick recap, you need to use the clues, please. Can you use this tree to tell you what season it is? Now, I know that this type of tree happens in December when it's Christmas, January and February. It happens now when it's quite cold. What season does this tree happen in? It's a deciduous tree because all the leaves have changed and come off. What do you think? What season? It is winter. Fantastic. Well done. Okay, here is another one. Now this one happens in March, April, May. March, April, May, after winter has happened. Now it looks quite warm in this photo, and it looks like some of the leaves have come back, but it isn't very bushy. What season do you think this tree is in? It is in spring. Well done. The next clue, this tree. Let's look at it. The sky is very clear. It looks like it's very warm. I know that this type of tree would happen in the season. We're finishing school. June, July and August. August is when we have the big summer holidays. This tree is looking rather full and bushy. This tree is in the summer. Well done. And our last tree. This one happens after the summer. The leaves are changing. I can see this deciduous tree's leaves are changing. It's not an evergreen tree. This happens when we go back to school in September, all the way up to November when we have the fireworks. What season does this tree happen in? What season is this? It is autumn. Well done. Miss Warner has drawn a fantastic picture. Now, I've observed the weather outside again, and this time it's not foggy, this time it's not rainy. I've got blue skies and it's not windy. But if I look around, I've got all these blue pots, I've got puddles on the floor, I've got wet branches, and I've got the wet ground. In my picture, the ground is wet. Can you pause the video and discuss with your adult what weather could cause the ground outside to become wet? There are 4 different types of weather that could make the ground outside quite wet. Now, the first one is snow. Now, snow, if you've ever picked it up, it melts in your hand. It feels quite wet. It's like icy. So that could make the floor wet, especially if it melted. We've got rain, and that was quite an obvious one. Rain, if it rains outside, the floor becomes all wet, and we might need our wellies to go and jump in some puddles. Now, I'm not too sure if you've all seen this, but hail. Hail is like little pieces of ice, and it normally happens with rain. Now, if the ice falls and it melts, it could make the ground wet. And the last one is called sleet. Can you all say that? Sleet. Now, sleet is like a mixture of ice, snow and water. So it's not quite snow, but it's icy rain. There's a bit of ice and a bit of snow with it. So that's all a mixture and it's called sleet. So these 4 weathers can make the floor quite wet. Now, year 1, it is time to think about our experiments. We are going to be scientists again. We've already done our weather log, but we are scientists again, and we are going to measure how much rain falls over the whole of next week. So, in a bit, we are going to be making your own or a class rain gauge. But before we get to making, we need to think about rain a little bit more. So I have a question. Rain is a liquid. What is a liquid? Let's explore this. A liquid is something that flows easily. It can flow. A liquid is something that can flow easily and it takes up the shape of its container. Now let's explore this a little bit using things at home or in school. Your first task today is to explore what a liquid is, and you need to take pictures and upload it to Teams, please. So, at home or at school, you need 3 things. You need a liquid, it might be squash, it might be juice, it might be milk. And you need 2 different containers that are different to each other. So I've got a tall glass and I've got a short glass. Now it might be that you have a bowl, just anything that you can see the liquid. Adults who are going to need to help this. So you need to put some liquid in the short container, in the smaller container. Just when you put the liquid in this, does it still look like this shape or has it now taken the shape of the cup or the container? That's right. A liquid flows easily and it fills the container and it takes the shape of it. Adults or children, you need to be careful with this. Could you pour the liquid that's in the smaller container into the larger or thinner one? Does it now look like the same shape as this cup? Or has it taken the shape of the other container? Fantastic. Hopefully it takes the shape of this cup or this container. Liquid flows easily and it takes the shape of the container. I'd like you, quickly for 2 or 3 minutes, could you go and find liquid around your house? It might be that you get a cup of water. It might be that you ask your adult for some squash. It might be that you have glue. We can't actually drink all of the liquid we find. Not all liquid is drinkable. It might be that you find shampoo. Go and explore. What type of liquids could you go and find? Quick, off you go. You have a couple minutes. Hopefully you got to find lots of different liquids. I've got some liquids here. And we're going to play a little game for a minute. I've got some orange juice. I've got some glue. I can't drink glue, but it flows easily and it takes up the shape of my container. Now in the middle, I have another one. So I'm going to give you a couple of glues and you need to guess which one it is. Now this liquid is white. This liquid can sometimes be delivered in a glass bottle or you can get it in a plastic bottle from the supermarket. And this liquid under here is produced by a black and white animal. Have you guessed it? Shout it out. I think you might be right. It is milk. Fantastic. Hopefully you have all explored what a liquid is and have uploaded those pictures to Teams as evidence that you've been doing this learning, which is really great to see. Now, you're going to need an adult to help you to do this, to make a rain gauge. In school, you might make one all together, or you might just look at one that's been made. At home, you might need to make this with an adult. You're going to need a big 2-litre empty bottle. You will need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a marker. It doesn't matter if it's black, just it needs to be a marker. You're going to need a ruler or a measuring tape. And you might need some string or stones and tape. So, step 1, using that marker, you will need to use the ruler to measure and mark each centimetre onto the bottle. Now you could do it like this person is doing and put it straight onto the bottle, each centimetre, or you might find it better to stick some tape to the bottle and to do it on the tape, but it needs to be centimetres. Step 2, now adults are going to need to help with this. Using the scissors, because scissors can be quite sharp, you need to cut the top third of the bottle off. And afterwards you might need to go back over it and make sure any of the sharp bits left are cut over. Now, children, I would just watch the adult do this. I wouldn't do it yourself because it can be very, very fiddly and quite hard to do. Squirrels and hedgehogs, you can definitely help to do this part. Step 3 is to get that top part that you've just chopped up, turn it upside down and place it back onto your marked bottle, just like this. It kind of looks like a funnel now. Step 4 is using a tape or a clip. You need to tape that top part that you just flipped over to the bottom so it does not blow away in the wind. You might want to test this. You might want to blow on your bottle or knock it over. What happens if you don't tape it? The top is going to fall off. So you can either tape around it or use clips and clip the top part to the bottom part. The last step is to put it outside in a place that you can catch rain. Would it be a good idea to stick this bottle inside of a shed? Not quite, because it couldn't catch the rain in there. Would it be a good idea to stick it underneath a windowsill? It needs to be somewhere out in the open, next to a fence maybe, or the wall where it can catch the rain. Now, because it can be quite windy when it rains, I suggest you either put some stones in the bottom, or you either tie or tape it to something like a railing so it doesn't fall over. So your final task of today, that's going to stretch out over the whole week, because our aim is to measure the rainfall over the whole week, is you are going to go outside every day and you're going to look at how much rain you collected. Now, I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on here because I've started on Monday, but it might be the case that you start on a Wednesday, so you're going to need to put Wednesday first. Each day at probably the same time would be best. You're going to go outside and you're going to see how much rain you have collected. You will need to upload the pictures of you exploring what a liquid is, and you will need to upload the completed table to Teams to say that you have explored and you've done this science lesson. Have a really good experiment, scientists, and I would love to see how much rain you managed to collect.